Aloha, everyone. So good to see you. I'm in New Jersey. I am in Newark, New Jersey. You know, this is actually the first time. This is the first time I've ever taught here. I've taught in New York and taught in Toronto, which I know is not New York, but it's just north of New York. And this is my very first time teaching here in Newark, and so exciting. So absolutely exciting. I was just here in New York, which is, across the river there, and very close though, and watching the art museum, the art exhibit that Lisan invited me to. Had an absolutely brilliant time. Skylar, my daughter, she loves art and had such a great time there. So we were just there. That's Valen right there. There's Valen. I'm going to say hi to Valen. He's one of our teachers. He's my alakai and one of our lead presenters at the Huna trainings for sure. We also got Christian over there. What's up? Christian is one of our teachers as well. And we have a whole team back there. We're getting set up here in New Jersey. And there's Kyle waving right over there. So we're getting set up here for our practitioner training. And I hope that Deanne, I saw Deanne logging in and being a part of this. I hope that Deanne did an amazing job helping me out the last 2 weeks. Like I said to you guys in the very beginning when I first started doing these Facebook Lives regularly, our goal is to do it every single time at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays. And there's going to be times where either I have to pre-record it or I have to let one of my other teachers jump in for me. So any of you who watched Deanne the last 2 weeks, if you guys can give a big shout out, drop some hearts in there for Deanne, doing a really good job filling in. Beth, good to see you. Absolutely great to see you as well. And so what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about, there's a webinar that I have coming up, and it has to do with boundaries. I want to talk about boundaries. Norte, that's so great. I heard that Deanne was great, and yeah, so cool. Thank you so much. Lisa, good to see you. Boundaries. I want to talk about boundaries. Now, my team is setting up behind me, and I jumped out of the setup. I always love to help out in setup, and I told them, I got to jump in and do my Facebook Live right now. So one of the big things that I have that I work with every single client that I have, I work on boundaries with them. I got to work on boundaries because boundaries is something that most people don't get. They don't understand boundaries. I love talking about it. I teach it at the master practitioner level. I talk about it a little bit here at the prac. We're doing our prac here, and I'll talk sometimes a little bit about that. But for the most part, boundaries is something that people have a difficult time with. It's so very interesting. People will often have a difficult time with the concept of boundaries because they feel like boundaries are somehow bad, that they are negative, or that they cause a person to be unhappy or uncomfortable. For example, if you sit down with your kids and you say, this doesn't work for me and this does work for me, for whatever reason, people think, oh, my kids aren't going to like me if I tell them that, or my team member's not going to like me, or my client's not going to like me. And the opposite is actually true. The idea that you have solid boundaries creates a parameter for other people. It's a win-win. It is a win-win, and people crave boundaries. Team members crave boundaries. Kids crave boundaries, where you say to them, here's how to win with me, and here's how not to win with me. Omu, oh my goodness, logging in from Nigeria. Sorry, I saw that. Mary, I saw you as well. I so appreciate it. We have students all around the planet. And Omu logging in from Nigeria. Omu, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'm using Hawaiian vowels with it. And so just hoping that I got that in there right. Sean, good to see you as well. And just, it's so neat to see familiar names jump up here, and also new people, new students who logging in from all around the world. And so back to what I'm talking about, boundaries. Boundaries are so important. So for example, if a new team member comes on board and I say to them, here's how to win with me and here's how not to win with me. It is so helpful. Pearl, you're so right. Boundaries are impactful because it sets up a win-win. So the first thing you'd have to do is you have to get into the right mindset that boundaries are good. The analogy that I use, let's say you and I were like really close friends, and I said to you, here's this room right here. Here's a room, and in it are my most prized possessions. my drums, the things that I do Huna with, all of the things that are so important to me. I'm going to put all of them out here in this room. I need your help. I need you to clean the room. And before you clean the room, though, I'm going to blindfold you. I'm going to turn off all the lights. Please don't break anything. That's literally, when you don't give someone boundaries, that's pretty much what you're doing. What you're doing is you're saying to them, help me out and don't cross a boundary. But I'm not going to tell you what the boundary is. I'm going to leave you in the dark. I'm going to leave you blinded in the dark so that you don't know what the boundary is. That's detrimental to a relationship. Now, I talk a lot about this at MasterPrac, and I've done webinars on external boundaries. Let's talk about internal boundaries, not something that I discuss very often. Let's talk about internal boundaries. Your boundaries with you. Your boundaries with you, and what parameters do you lay down with you? Like, for example, do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to get that workout in, and then you don't do it? Well, you just violated one of your own boundaries. Imagine if someone that you love dearly, that you trust, said to you, I'm going to follow through, I'm going to do this, and then they don't. Just do a switch of referential index, do a role reversal, where you sit there and you go, imagine, see, like, that's Kyle right there. You want to say hi to Kyle? That's Kyle. He's one of our logistics coordinators. If Kyle said to me, hey, Dr. Matt, here's what's going to be handled at the training. By the time you show up, it's done. And then it's not done. I'm going to begin to wonder, should he be a part of the team? I mean, just throwing that out there, right? Okay, well, with other people, we would sit there and go, well, that doesn't work. Well, why do we do that with ourselves? Why do we lie to ourselves so much and say, yeah, I'm going to work out today? Or, no, I'm not going to eat that food tonight when I go out with the team. Why do we say to ourselves, I'm going to get 10 things done today and we're going to get 3 done? Why do we do that? We make ourselves liars to ourselves. Just stop and think about that for a moment. Your unconscious mind, your subconscious, is looking up at you, going, I need some directions here. And the conscious mind goes, here's the direction, we're going to work out today. And then you don't. And your unconscious mind sits there and goes, I don't know what to do. You said we were going to do this, and now we're not doing it. Did that just make you a liar? Did it just diminish your power of your word to yourself? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, 100%. We have a simple philosophy in our trainings, and any of you who have done prac with me, or Nicole, or any other team member, if I wasn't there, you guys know this. Under promise and over deliver. Well, I need you all to start doing that with yourself. Under promise and over deliver to yourself. Wouldn't it be better to put 3 things on your tasks, 3 things that you have to do today, and get 5 done? That makes you sound like a superhero. That makes you sound amazing. Like, if you just told your partner, I'm going to clean 1 room today, I'm going to clean 1 room, and then you clean 2, your partner's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Well, what about with you? What about with your own word, with what you say to yourself? If you say to yourself, here's what I'm going to do, and you don't do it, and you don't have any follow through, you diminish your word and the power of your word to you. And I think that's sometimes actually worse than diminishing it with other people. You can always find new friends, you can always repair a relationship through Ho'oponopono. And with you, well, it's you. So I want you to begin to think about, what boundaries do you hold yourself to? If you say you're not going to do something, why do you do it? Exactly, Joan, exactly. Under promise, over deliver. Even with you. We're so hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves up so well. I make a joke on stage that a while back, someone was going to tell me how I screwed up, that I messed up, and I was like, no, trust me, I got this. I am going to shit all over myself way better than you ever could. Just totally, 100%. And they laughed. I said, I got this one, I promise. I said, we all beat ourselves up. And I always talk to practitioners about, how do you talk about you to you in a more kind, loving, gentle way. And one thing that I don't get to talk about a lot is, how do you set up your day? Yeah, it gives you power, Omu. It gives you power when you say, this is what I'm going to do today, and you do it. This is what I'm not going to do today, and you don't do it. You give yourself parameters and you follow through. So you guys got to be realistic with it, right? I used to be obese. I weighed 235 pounds in my 20s, and when I hit a certain level, I'm like, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. And I didn't get it done the first time. I didn't. And I took a step back and I went, how about I set something realistic? How about I set a boundary with myself and I say, okay, I'm going to work out at least 4 times. I'm going to work out 4 times today, this week, and today, 4 times in one day. Ooh. I'm going to work out 4 times this week, and I'm going to follow through with that. And if I do it, great. That built up momentum for me. That's true with your work. That's true with everything that you do. The work that you do regularly, all the things that you do. It's so important for you to set realistic parameters, realistic boundaries. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm not going to do. And what you do is you follow through with it. So let's kind of wrap this up, and I want to summarize. Number 1, start listening to your own language. Start listening to what you're saying to yourself and what parameters you're putting down. What you're saying you're going to do and what you're saying you're not going to do. Begin to then take a look at, are you over-promising? You should under-promise and over-deliver. That builds up your word to yourself. And then what you want to do is you want to sit down and go, okay, how can I follow through with what I said that I'm going to follow through with yourself? Because you got to start with you. One of my teachers, his name is Kumue Tua, amazing individual, and he teaches hula. Those of you who have been to Huna, you've met Kumue Tua. And people always, when they're dancing, they worry about the person to their left. Let me tell you you got to do this move this way. They worry about the person to the right. He said, don't worry about the person to your left. Don't worry about the person to your right. Focus on the one in the middle. And that was a powerful lesson for me. And that's where boundaries have to start. Boundaries need to start with you and with what you say to yourself. Because how can you get your kids to listen to you if you don't even listen to you? How can you get your team members to listen to you if you don't even listen to you? So start with that, and it's going to make a huge difference, all right? Thank you all so much, and I think I'm with you next week. I'm going to Italy in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Italy for 4 or 5 weeks, and so I'm either going to pre-record them or I'm going to ask some other team members to step up and share their mana'o, their wisdom, their thinking. And for now, I'm going to get set up for New Jersey. I saw someone say to me they're going to be seeing me tomorrow. You'll be sitting somewhere over here. We're going to have a great training here in New Jersey. First time I've ever taught here. And those of you that I'm going to see tomorrow, a hui ho, and all the rest of you, see you next week. Aloha.